What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Boots, Banter, and Beyond, the stories of Irreverent Warriors, the show where stories about how humor and camaraderie have changed lives for the better. I'm your host, as always, Eric Schessel. Today on the show, we are joined by local coordinator Tony Matthews from Spokane, Washington. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, not much. How you doing, Eric? And it's Spokane, not Spokane.
Oh, I've already
Cocaine
been
is the
corrected.
white
We ain't even been on for 5 minutes. I'm already getting blasted. Spokane.
Spokane,
Because you
home
spoke
of
can, you it's not a Spokane, you Spokane.
yeah, we're like trash can, not trash can't.
All right, there you go.
So yeah, our hike coming up June 21st. So if you haven't bought your tickets, you're wrong. If you're not coming to Spokane, you're wrong again. So there we go.
There it is. There's a QR code on the bottom of the thing. Use the QR code. If you haven't registered yet, you are wrong.
Correct.
So talk to us a little bit. So before we dig into your hike, talk to us a little bit about your military background. You know, what branch were you in? What did you do? All that good stuff. Give us all those details.
So I was in the Marine Corps for 11 years. I was infantry my whole time. I got 2 tours to Iraq. First was definitely the roughest. That was early Wild West days, Iraq '04, Phantom Fury. Second one was in '09 as we were trying to get out. So it was just kind of a stalemate at that point. Vastly different ends of the spectrum of that war, but put me in, coach, I'd go again. That's where my brain cells are still at. Got out in 2013. I was looking at a full career. I got med boarded. And when that happens, your heart's in the game, but your body's done. Believe it or not, I actually had 4 hip surgeries and shoulder repaired as an infantryman. That's definitively your career ender. And so I got out, went to college. Within about a month of getting out, I went straight into community college and didn't know what the fuck civilian life was about. And was not. I mean, I got through the college I without killing anyone's child. It was not for lack of wanting. And then eventually I found my way to working full time for the VA. And so I work for the VA full time in the Office of Community Care up here in Spokane. And I'm not afraid to walk that tightrope. Similar nation in the way Grunt Style Foundation and Irreverent Warriors walk a tightrope between policy and politics and all that. I'm not afraid to advocate for the veterans I serve in my community. I get my health care there. I can sympathize on both sides of that fight, but ultimately I get my care there, and so do countless other vets. So I'm willing to fight for their health care. And then in my free time, that is very little. One, I have a family. I got one still in school, one joined the Marine Corps, and he's off doing PFC things. So, as we say in the Marine Corps, PFC, perfect for cleaning. So, hopefully, he's cleaning something.
He's mopping up rainwater in the rain.
Knowing him, he probably is. I love my child, but he's got his days. And then, of course, any other spare time I got is wrapped around pushing our mission, bringing veterans together, using our humor and camaraderie to improve mental health and prevent veteran suicide. So ultimately, I dub through and through, and that's me.
Yeah. So how did you find out about Irreverent Warriors? If you don't have with all this lack of free time and stuff like that, how did you find IW itself?
So, um, the odd thing is, I went to college and I convinced a bunch of other vets in the smoke pit in 2015 to go wear silkies and wear those to college courses on Fridays. And we had what was called Freedom Fridays. And yes, I did have campus security called on me for wearing quote unquote boxer underwear to class, which um, I'm glad the silkies I wore that day still had a liner, so we're a okay. Um, but that wasn't quite when I joined iDub. Didn't even know iDub was a thing at the time. We were pretty close in time zone doing that. 2021, I saw an ad on Facebook and was like, they had me at Selkies. And I gathered about 5, 6 other people to go to Seattle. I had missed the Spokane hike that year, and I almost backed out. I almost bitched out. Anxiety went through the roof, and my wife was my now wife, or dating at the time, was like, "Nope, you need this. You told all these people you're going. Go have fun in Seattle." And I went, and within 20 minutes, I was sold. And by the end of the hike, I was looking for leadership to get involved because I knew what I was missing, and iDub was what I've been missing. And the at that point, it was 2021. I got out in 23, so I got out in 2013, so almost 10 years after getting out of service. It was everything I missed. So. So I
I
went from
I
simple hiker to firm believer, and you guys are my tribe. So,
Yeah, no, and I get that. I felt I can empathize, right? So because I got out in 2006, and I didn't find out about W until 2019. So it was definitely so I could definitely empathize with how you feel about it. So how did you get from so you went to the hike in Seattle,
mhm.
and so how did you become a local coordinator? What you said you wanted to be part of leadership, you want to be part of helping out and being part of the mission. So how did you become the local coordinator that we see before us?
um, well, I kept beating down the door. I made my intention known right out the gate from my first hike. Hey, I want involvement. How do I get involved? How do I get involved? And of course, the Pacific Northwest, a lot of East Coast cities don't realize how far we are apart. Um, Seattle's 5 hours from Spokane. At the
Oh wow.
time, that was the closest hike to Spokane. There was no other hike other than Seattle and Spokane. And so I had to wait until the following year, and I hit Spokane in 22. And the month later, I went to Seattle in 22. And I had submitted an application to leadership. It was it took some time. I didn't hear back until September of 22, August, September of 22, that I was being brought in as just a team member, see what I offered. Ended up going down to Boise for their inaugural hike. Uh, Boise's 8 hours away. They're the next closest city to Spokane.
Okay.
Um, Drove down there, attended their first hike. Seeing some of the same faces that I met at my first hike in Seattle. Danny Rosplitch was the LC at the time. It's now Dennis Decker, who is the new LC, and met both them. And a lot of familiar faces. Just kept going. Was part of the planning for the 2023 season for Spokane iDub. Uh, they It was Josh Lashar at the time, who was kind of a district uh, coordinator, he selected me to go to conference. I went to a conference in January of what is that, 23? Yeah. And I showed up, came back from that. About a week and a half later, I get an email from Mama. This says, "Hey, you're now the lead, sink or swim." And it's been off to the races ever since. So it was trial by fire. And I have to, my shout out is to two coordinators that really sunk it home in my first at my first conference. I got Mark Metzger, and I got Crystal Dunway. Both of them were in a breakout session with me, and I said, "What makes you so successful?" And Mark hit it on the nail. As an LC, it's you're throwing a party for all your best friends that have never been to your city. Show them why your city's so good, and everything else will fall in line. And it pretty much kept me on the KISS program, and I've worked really good on the KISS program.
Yep, KISS program. You can't go wrong with the KISS program.
Right. Right. So yeah,
Good.
that brings me to 3 years down the road. I'm still in LC. I got brought up. Well, we've been doing some restructuring. I went last year. I was a regional coordinator, and now we're to Spokane's a outpost. So definitely a front runner in the region. Trying new things, trying to rebuild Seattle. I know quite a few of us are sad that it's not on the docket, but some people pick up and move, and you got to find a replacement. And with day jobs and lives, it's challenging when you're 5 hours away. So
Yeah. I mean, and we're all volunteers too, so like real life has
right,
to come first. Like we can only put so much into everything, right? It's like if our
right,
plates are full in real life, there's only so much that we can give to the organization. As much as we love it, something's got to give at some point, right?
right. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Is realizing that and respecting that. I mean, you don't want to overload someone and then watch what they plan just not pan out. No one likes that feeling, and no one likes to sit there and watch it. So it's taking care of our own. If you're not protecting your mental health at the end of the day, and you don't have someone looking at that, then we all know too well how that goes. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna pull this back up again. So your hike is June 21st. It's coming up quick.
yeah.
So again, if you guys have not scanned the QR code, scan the QR code. But while you guys are scanning that QR code, Tony, talk to us about your logo. What are we looking at on your logo here? What do we got?
All right. So in 1974, Spokane was hosted the World's Fair, Expo 74, and that created a huge park downtown, central in Spokane. And so they built a big pavilion so that the net looking thing, at one point had a full size canvas over it. Now it's just guide wires, and they actually a few years ago revamped it, so it lights up. It's got some pretty cool colors.
Nice.
That tower is the last remaining portion of the original rail yard downtown, and that's the clock tower. It's one of our. It is a historical building that we are blessed to still have. And then when I was a kid, they built this big ass radio flyer wagon, and therefore we have a giant wagon that the handle on it downtown is actually a slide, and it's got monkey bars below. So you will see all three of those along our hike. You'll see the Spokane River, which actually has very beautiful natural settings in an urban environment, and we actually hold the largest urban waterfalls in the nation. So we got
Nice.
multiple, and it's a good time. It Spokane's a great place to visit. We got 4 seasons. Spring is pleasant. Summer is, as long as you come early enough, you don't get cooked. Um, Late fall or late summer, sometimes we'll get some of that wildfire smoke. We'll season you a little bit. Winter, hit or miss, but we definitely got some snow, so you can go snowboarding, skiing, do all your outdoor frozen activities, which I prefer the summer months. Why? Because silkies. So
Absolutely.
so
So
get out here.
is the radio flyer, right? So you got the wagon. Like, were they made out in Spokane or something like that? Like, why is that? Like, why is the radio flyer wagon there?
Good question. Google would be probably the place I should probably answer my own city's inquiries, but I don't honestly know why they put one there. Because in the same area of the park, there's like the little wooden blocks with the alphabet on it, like they're colored.
Scrabble.
No, not like Scrabble. Like they're like toddler blocks, but they got ABC,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, they have some of those down there as well that say City of Spokane, and it's just unique.
Okay.
It's just why it was put in the park. I honestly could not tell you. We have some other cool things. We have over 100-year-old carousel that's within 2-second walk from that radio flyer.
Nice.
Um, and we have some historical stuff. It's hard to say historical talking to an East Coast LC. Literally the area we're going to be walking along the river in 1925. We still had our native tribes living in teepees down on the river. And here we are walking along, and there's hydroelectric dams and everything. It's crazy. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah.
Cool.
And like I said, it's Spokane, not Spokane. And we had along the hike, you will get to see our famous garbage goat. So, like I said, Spokane, not Spokane. Garbage goat, garbage can. So yeah, we got some unique features. We got Gonzaga basketball. We will walk by their campus along the hike, so you'll get to see where they actually play in some of their games for the NCAA. And yeah, we got some pretty cool sites. At one point, you'll walk through a late 1940s, early 50s esque facade on buildings. So we still have the neon lights and the 40s, early 50s theater, stuff like that. So yeah,
That's
we got
cool.
some cool stuff.
So what was one of your biggest struggles with the hike this year? Like putting that all together?
Um, Honestly, remapping it just a little bit. Every year I do something just a hair different than the year before, and going through a section of town just never really was in. I never had a purpose over there, and I just had safety's paramount, so I don't want to take my hike through a section of town that one doesn't feel safe, and
Right.
two, um, I don't want to add mileage and break people off, just because, oh, here's a safety issue. I'd much rather cut that out. And then the other part was uh, learning this year's nuances with the city. Some of my contacts retired in the last year, so and the city has started new programs where uh, reserving parking is now an online thing where we never had to do it, and now I'm having to learn the city's new way. So I don't know. There's always something different. Roll with the punches, and I got a mission to make happen, and I don't back down. So let's get at it.
Hell yeah. So how is the city with IW? Do they does the community and everything, they treat you guys well and stuff out there? Like how's that go?
Yeah, Spokane is very veteran friendly. We're The way the city developed was more sprawling than we built out, not up, which works in our favor because we have all the sidewalk space and we don't have to fight for it. And we get a lot of veteran friendly traffic that drives by. I mean, definitely the weird looks of, you got a bunch of vets out there in boots waving flags and wearing booty shorts, but everyone's positive. We haven't had a single uh, incident where it hasn't been a positive one. And we got Fairchild Air Force Base out here, so
Yep.
it's small, but it's present. And so yeah, we a lot of people with a veteran background or first responder, and in that sense, they're very patriotic. So everyone, it's open arms. It really is. It's a
Good.
positive experience. So
So is there anything else you can tell us about the hike that you guys have planned this year? I know you kind of talked a little bit about some of the places you guys are going to see, but is there anything else
mhm.
that you want to share without giving away all the details?
Hey, if you walk away from my hike and you're hungry, that's your own damn fault, and I don't feel bad.
So I take it there's going to be good food options throughout the day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If there's one thing anyone that has met me, if you walk away from being around me and you're hungry, make better life decisions.
We heard it here first. You go out to Spokane, you're gonna be well fed. You're gonna come back 5 pounds heavier, guaranteed. And if you don't, you done messed up.
Yeah, yeah. Because one word, tacos.
Nice. Nobody says no to tacos. I don't care who you are. Nobody says no to tacos.
No, nope. So,
If you're talking to someone, right? So you got Fairchild out there, you'd say this the city takes good care of you guys. If you were to run into a veteran just off chance, that hadn't either has heard about IW and not come out to their hike yet, or any of your vet togethers, anything like that, or they have not heard about the organization, how do you what do you say to them? How do you get them to come out and hang out with IW for the day?
um, first foremost, once I verify they're a vet or active duty, guard, reserve, I really don't care as long as they wore our boots. Um, my first question is, have you heard of Irreverent Warriors? It's a straight, direct. Okay, have you heard of us? And then if they go no, and I kind of judge by age, that 45 and below club typically has heard of IDub in some fashion, and if they haven't, I follow it up with, do you know Vet TV? Have you heard of Donnie O'Malley? And a lot of them, you catch them time and time again. Oh yeah, he's funny as fuck, and I'm like, yeah, he started this first, and
Yeah,
that's a hook, and that brings them in, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, I like him, I like his content. Okay, cool. You like Silkies? Yeah, Silkies are awesome. Okay, come join us. And and then you talk about your hike, or you kind of guide the conversation based on how they're reacting to it, and pay attention to their vocal cues or physical cues of what were they perceptive about. Oh, I miss being with the boys. Okay, cool. Come join. We got plenty of those. But, or if I'm talking to a lady veteran, um, that is, it's paramount. And I'm fucking proud of Irreverent Warriors stats that came out from last year. Over 40%
Yeah.
attendance is women veterans. Fucking making waves in the right direction.
Yep.
And it's important to me. My grandmother was a Marine. My grandfather
Okay.
was a Marine. So um, to have that recognition and see that the women are going where they're valued means we're doing something right. So I have something, I have ways to make it tangible and understandable and enticing to bring them in. And Vietnam veterans, I think the oldest one I've had was 82, 83. And he hiked with his daughter. They both were Air Force pilots. And you want to see an amazing interaction, watch a father-daughter on a hike.
Right.
Just observe. Great times. So just be real. Tell your story,
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So I think that about wraps it up. What final words of wisdom do you have before we do our little sign off here?
that one's tough. You're asking a Marine for wisdom. Again,
I am, and I mean it could be anything, whatever it is.
sun's skies out, thighs out. Eat more tacos. Get your ass to my hike.
Those are three valid points, right? Absolutely, tacos, silkies, and the hike. Absolutely. Well, I can't wait
And
to see photos and stuff for your hike. I hope it is a huge success and everybody has a great time and it's everything that you and your leadership team want it to be.
yeah, definitely. And of course, as we always do, supporting one another. And it's always great to see your face, hear your voice, and on to more shenanigans.
On to more shenanigans. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's good to see you too, brother. And there you have it. We want to thank Tony for spending some time with us tonight. Thank you again so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. Be sure to share this episode far and wide so we can bring a little extra humor and camaraderie to anybody who might listen. Until next time, stay irreverent, my friends.